Hello there, beginning farmer friends. It is time to start a project that probably should have been started a long time ago. But before we start the project, let me tell you where we are, what's going on, what we've gotten done. If you have been following along on the channel for a long time, there are a few things that you might have seen that are no longer here. One being, this is where our fencer has been since we put the shed up, really. I went and grabbed this scrap of wood. You see, it's got an angle cut off of it. I just found it. I threw it up there. That's where we put the fencer. We had put this electrical box in at one point, and we put a couple outlets right here. There was a very scary looking wire hanging down here with a couple wire nuts going up here. We had two outlets. Now we have this nice outlet box right here. We also have an outlet box right there, and another outlet box right there. And then on the other side of this wall right here, we have this outlet right here, which powers this fencer right here. Eventually, I'm going to put a little cabinet around there because out here is our winter lot and this big wide open door. I don't want winter, spring, summer, rains, snow to fly in. So I'm going to put a cabinet around that to protect it from the weather. I eventually will just go straight through the wall right here or somewhere along this wall right here, and then we will go out with our electrical wire there. I did put in some ground rods right down here. There's one. There's another one over there. I need to put a couple more of those in, but that was just what I had time for before we got done. We are not done yet with the wiring, but we've got a good start. I say all of that to say this. I went and rented this floor grindery thing today because we're finally going to tackle the unevenness of the floor behind me right here. This is uneven because, well, just because it is, okay? It is wavy. It was not fully dry enough when we put some blankets on it, when we poured it. And so it's just got this waviness in it. We want to put our freezer room in this 12 by 16 space where I am, well, behind me basically, where I am right now. And so in order to do that, we want to have this floor slightly smoother so that we can clean it. And I think what the idea right now is to get it ground down as best we can, get some of these high spots and these ridges ground down, and then come in with an epoxy. We're going to have our freezer room in here, so we want to be able to sweep the floors, mop the floors, things like that. So that's the idea. It is a project that is a long time in coming. I need to go get a hose, a water hose for this. This has a water line. I don't know much about it. I believe that this has a diamond grinder head of some sort right here. I don't know. I rented it for the day. It's 8 inches. We're going to see what happens and how long it takes. All right, we are set. The space is somewhat cleaned out. I'm not too super concerned about this because this is going to be dusty. It's going to be wet. We're going to do our best to get the roughness off of this. I have no idea what I'm doing or how this is going to go. We're going to go turn the water on. We're just going to start. Just for kicks, I checked my watch. It is 11:02. We'll see what happens. We got to figure out a system here because these cords and hoses, oh my goodness. It is now 11:58, so just under an hour. Let me turn this fan off. I came in and I set this big fan up here because the floor where we want to put this part of the building, it is mostly flat. The rest of the building is supposed to at least slant out to the outside of the building, but I was getting a lot of water pooling over here, so I thought if I could get the fan there to push it, and you saw me having to sweep it a few times because it was hard to see where I was going with all the water and the dust on the floor. But let me show you, and it's better but not best, but I think that it's good for what we're doing. Obviously, as you can tell, there's a bit of pooling in spots like this and stuff like that. It is not completely 100% level. It's got some ups and downs, and there are, I still have all the pitting, so I don't know if you can tell, but these are all areas where if I were to grind it down until it was completely smooth, which I wouldn't be able to. I'm just not that skilled, and it would still, I think, have some waves and undulations in it. But if I were to grind it down that far, then I would just lower this section of the building more than I want to. And the idea is that the room that we are building right here is temporary, or potentially temporary. Maybe we'll want this room forever. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll build a proper walk-in freezer at some point. And then this room, I want to be able to take down the walls and still have it be part of the shed or the shop or whatever we want to call it. I am pretty pleased with how it turned out, but it was also an expensive piece of equipment to rent. So I think I'm going to get it loaded up as quick as I can. See if I get it back soon, they'll charge me for half a day instead of a day. I don't know if they have rates like that, but it's worth a try. That's heavy. When I get back to the farm, I will take you back out to the shed, tell you what the next steps are, and also probably ask for a little bit of advice. So stick with me. So now the obvious question is, what are the next steps? And since I don't do very well thinking about a lot of steps all at once, and then I never get to the first step, what I want to tell you is what my next single step is. And it's not wiring, it's not huge. What I want to do, and I'll kind of go to the corner of the room here, is I want to build the frame of what we are going to use as our freezer room. So that is, as I mentioned earlier, a 12-foot by 16-foot room. I don't know if I'm going to do plywood on the outside of it or steel on the outside of it, but I want to build stud the walls in or frame the walls in, and then I want to put whatever wall material we're going to use as the outside. I want to put that on so that then we can come in and put an epoxy or leveling, whatever we're going to do on the inside of this. And the main reason, well, there's two main reasons that I want to do that right now. One, I want to have something to hold all of that leveling or epoxy, whatever we put on the floor. If we put the walls up, there will be something to hold that in. And number two, if we put the walls up, then there will be something to keep chickens and dogs and things like that out of it while it's curing and doing what it needs to do. This is a good step. We are moving in the right direction. My biggest problem always has been getting to that next step. It's not knowing what the next step is, it's getting to it. So my goal is to not wait 3 weeks before we start working on that again. My goal is to be able to get to it next week. It's Wednesday right now. I know with my schedule I won't get to it again this week, but next week we need to start building and framing some walls. If you have any tips on doing some sort of leveling in there, so the epoxy, basement-y, garage type stuff, or some sort of other leveling compound, let me know. Put those in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching the video, following along my journey as a beginning farmer, even though, I don't know, I'm a lot of years into it. Have a great day wherever you are and whenever it is.